So a few weeks ago, I got to test out the first of its kind continuous ketone monitor. So the CKM stands for Continuous Ketone Monitor, and this is different than a continuous glucose monitor, which are very common. But there really aren't many systems out there. This is really the first of its kind. SiBio is the company that is producing these, and it looks like this. It looks just like a continuous glucose monitor, but this is a ketone monitor, and it actually sticks. Most people put it behind the back of their one of their arms. My wife and I both did it, and we chose the back of our left arm. It gets applied with this nifty applicator thing. You kind of go like this and puts it right in. There is actually this needle-looking thing, but and you can't even really see it. It's very tiny. It actually is flexible. It goes right into your skin on the outside, and it'll move with you. It's not a stiff needle, so you barely even notice it. We had it on for 2 weeks, and the results were super cool. Because I'm on a keto diet, but what I came to find out is I kind of suck at keto. Like, I'm not in ketosis very often, and that doesn't surprise me, but I think it helped me dial in on what foods were actually knocking me out of ketosis. One in particular was Greek yogurt. That is one of my Achilles heel. I make my own Greek yogurt, and I love it. And I didn't really know the carbohydrate content in it, but I know for some people it's actually the lactose that can affect the ketones in your body and knock you out of ketosis. So that may be happening for me, but it definitely helped me dial in on which foods were keeping me out of ketosis. And just super fascinating. So the company could not have sent it at a more appropriate time. I got this when I was day 3 on a 5-day fast. I was in the middle of a 5-day fast at the time, and this arrived in the mail. I didn't know how soon we were going to get it. It actually shipped very quickly. I don't know if it's available in the U.S. yet. I think it's coming to the U.S. market. I'm in Costa Rica, and they shipped it to me here in Costa Rica. And it was super fun to watch, to look through. So this is what the app looks like from SiBio or CBio. You can sort your data by 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, 24 hours, or 14 days, or the calendar. So I go back and I did this from October 1st until October 14th. The sensor lasts 2 weeks. But at the start of it, you can see I was very well in ketosis there, and that's because I was fasted for 5 days. And I actually took readings even before I put my CKM on. I took readings from the Keto Mojo app to tell me where I was. And on day 1 of my fast, this is after 24 hours of fasting, my glucose was still at 92 and I was nowhere on the scale for ketones. Day 2, after 48 hours of fasting, it started to come down. I still only had 0.1 on the ketone scale, and my glucose somehow went up. Now this is in the morning as opposed to an evening read, so that's probably what caused the glucose to go up there. And then I took a reading a little bit later in the day, but a similar outcome. Ketones are starting to come up a little higher. And now after 3 days of fasting, that's when I finally started to get on the scale, and my GKI, my glucose ketone index, is starting to come down to 3.5. Glucose is at 85. Ketones are at 1.3. Day 4, we're getting better yet. This is a high therapeutic level of ketosis. Ketones are at 1.9. Glucose is down to 80. And then after 5 days of fasting, I did hit that 2.1, so it kind of steadied out after between day 4 and day 5. Ketones are at 2.0. And this is the moment that I actually put on my monitor from SiBio. And that's when I actually started the 14-day window of continuous ketone monitoring. So like I said, after 5 days of fasting, I put on my ketone monitor, and that's what you're seeing right here, some really high therapeutic numbers of ketosis. I put the sensor on right around 1 or 2 p.m. in the afternoon, so I had it on for about 3 hours before I ate for the first time in 5 days. I ate about 5:30 or 6 p.m. that night. And so that's what these high numbers are up here. That was when I was still fasted. I broke my fast with a little bit of bone broth, like an avocado, and then eventually I think I had some hard-boiled eggs, but so all very low carbohydrate foods, and I introduced it very slowly. But look at the impact that it had on my ketones. And that really shocked me. It was like, I thought that when you ate keto, that you could maintain your ketones fairly high. But the reality is like just eating itself is going to, or at least what it did for me, is it tanked my ketones. It cut them all the way in half. So over the next few days here, I held it together pretty well, but then at some point, like, I kind of lost discipline and started eating more carbohydrates in my diet. But what I found to be really interesting is that my body is just not that metabolically flexible. Once I got knocked out of ketosis, I never really could pull it back together. The amount of time that I was not in ketosis was the vast majority. In order to be in ketosis, you've got to be over that 0.5 or 0.6 mark. So that's the line there. So pretty much from here over, I was in ketosis, and from about November 4th on, I was out of ketosis and never could really recover. The amount of time that you have to fast before you can even like see any ketones in your blood is 16 hours. That seemed like the magic number. That's when the very first indications came that your ketones were on the rise. It took 16 hours of fasting, and this is on a fairly not a very disciplined diet. And so I wouldn't say it was all that low carbohydrate, but my wife and I were definitely doing intermittent fasting, and she found the same thing with her ketone sensor, that it took really about 16 hours before you even started to see a little bit of activity on the continuous ketone monitor. So I got so much valuable information from wearing that monitor in 2 weeks' time, but what I really learned is that I got a lot to learn. I suck at keto. I got to watch Greek yogurt. I have to watch certain foods if I want my body to be in ketosis. I also found out that I am not very metabolically flexible. My body's got a lot of learning to do to switch back and forth between the modes of burning glucose and burning ketones, and it takes a lot longer for my body to react. It's really that 16 hours of fasting before you can even start to think about getting into ketosis. But the reality is I want to try this again so I can get more information on what food is actually affecting my ketones. But super valuable experiment. I highly recommend it. If anybody is interested in trying the SiBio Continuous Ketone Monitor, it's super interesting, super valuable information, and is definitely worth the money.